Yo, what is going on, everybody? I am doing a live because I figure, you know what? Editing sucks anyway. So I'm just going to do this live because I don't really care to cut anything out. Here I am, live on YouTube. And I'm doing a Q&A today. I asked on the Instagram for people to give me questions. Um, what did they want to know? And I got a bunch of questions to go over with you. But before I go over the questions, I'm going to do a couple announcements. The first announcement is, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Drew Heifetz. Anyway, I own F as in Frank, Frankie Collective. Been in the vintage game a long time. We do wholesale vintage clothing. We do wholesale dead stock when we have it. If you guys need anything wholesale, hit me up. You can hit us up. I'll put the email in the link below, but it's sales@fasinfrankvintage.com. Anything you need, hit me up. I might have it. I might not. But anyway, what I do have right now is lots of blank hats, blank snapback hats, and these Cops guys. Okay? These are all available, wholesale, super cheap prices. Hit me up. Send an email, send a DM on Instagram. You can buy these in bulk. I have multiples of all these things. Snap back. Yo, Caleb, what up? You're in here. I'm going to be doing Q&A. If you have questions, if you're watching this live and you have questions, type them out and I will answer. I have these cords, sick cords. I feel like cord is popping right now, heavy. How's the video quality on this? Where are the splashes? Splashes are gone, long gone, dude. Got these green joints here. Splashes been gone, man. Got these pink cords with the strap. We still have these Fresh Prince hats. I got a grip of these. Again, I got multiples in all this stuff, so hit it up. These are raw denim snaps. All this stuff super good for putting your logo on so you can have a cool brand. Do it. I'm out of Squamish, BC. I'm at my house right now. The office is in Vancouver. Our warehouse is in Vancouver. We have a store in Toronto and a store in Vancouver. So, yeah. I got to check the messages that I'm going to be answering here. But anyway, I got T-shirts to sell too. I got some T-shirts. By the way, this weekend's Rose Bowl. Come check us at booth 3128, Rose Bowl, white section, the vintage section. I won't be there. Jesse will be there. My brother, Jesse Heifetz. We got lots of good stuff. Caleb, you want more info on the program? Okay, he's referring to the program I sent an email about. Did you get the email, Caleb? Bolton Valley. Yeah, I've been to Bolton Valley. Anyway, the program, I sent an email out about the program. If you didn't get the email, Caleb, okay, you didn't get the email. I'm going to send you the email. Sorry, you probably signed up for the email list after I sent out the first email round. I'll send another email round. You'll get the info. If you want to know about this program that we're talking about, sign up. There's going to be a link below after this video is live, or there's links in the descriptions of my other videos. But the program's going to be dope, Caleb. Trust me. So wait for that email. Okay, I got T-shirts to sell. So I'm going to show you some cool T-shirts because everybody wants to see vintage, right? That's what it's all about. Showing off some vintage. Okay. First up, this all over print on the anvil tag. Zeppelin. This one, $75. 75 bucks. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you prices. You can hit me in the DMs or whatever you want to do. Yeah, been to Bolton Valley. I used to snowboard at Stratton, Okemo. I've been to like Mount Snow. I've been to Killington. I lived in Vermont from like 1996 to 98, 99. Snowboarded all over the place. Love Vermont. I need to come back. Okay. Kiss. Farewell tour. $2,000. All sport. XL tag. Single stitch, even though it's $2,000. See? $50 on this. I don't even know what this band is, so I'm not going to talk about it. This is sick, though. This is OG Space Invaders 80s tee. Like, this is early video game stuff here. Tag. Medium size. 75 on this. OG. Okay, Benson and Hedges with the Spaceman. Symphony of Fire. Is it yeah, Benson and Hedges, Symphony of Fire. Rad graphic. Only $25. Okay, got a dead tee. 2003, dead. Since it's 2003, $40. Liquid blue, size XL. Okay. If anybody has more questions, I'm going to be answering questions in a minute. Send them in. Send them in. What do you want to know? What do you want to know about F as in Frank? What do you want to know about vintage? What do you want to know about me? What do you want to know about Frankie Collective? This thing's fire. The crazy 90s airbrush joint sweatshirt. This is on a sick Hanes sweat tag. Check it out. She's got a DKNY on. She's rocking the Gore-Tex hiking boots. This is 100. Friends tee. $25. What's your favorite polo piece? Thoughts on the guy who made the Lithuania tie-dye shirt re-releasing them? I didn't even know about that. Some guy remade them. Price in USD. I'll go over those couple questions after. Okay, Smashing Pumpkins. I already have this in my own personal collection, so I'm letting this one go. On the Toltex XL. This one's $150, which I think is a good fair price right now. Okay. Santana. This is a sick graphic. This is double XL. Yeah, double XL on the Champs. Santana. That one, 100. Okay, Danzig. This is a 90s one. $60. I'm just making this up. Blue Planet, Kennedy Space Center. Sick graphic with the spaceship whale tail, single stitch on the Oneida XL. $30. George Foreman. KO tag. Very fitting. Nothing on the back. $75. Tyson versus McNeely, 95. Toltex, extra large, $100. $100. Again, I'm live here. I'm just doing this live because I don't like editing. This is so easy. It's just going to be uploaded, done. And put questions if you want me to answer your questions. Send the questions in. I'm going to answer questions in a minute. Couple more tees. Got the long sleeve dead. Dancing Bear Jamboree. Long sleeve on the liquid blue XL. How about $75? Okay. Another liquid blue. Liquid blue bulldog. This thing's sick. I'll do 75 on this one too. Liquid blue XL. Okay. Dr. Seuss tie-dye. Dope back graphic with the slogan there. I think this is XL. FL Robinson tag. Not a common tag. Another Dr. Seuss joint. This one's 1999. It's dated. That Dr. Seuss, this tie-dye Dr. Seuss, 50. This Dr. Seuss, 30. Last one. 2 Live Crew, rap tee. We want some pussy. We want some pussy. Okay. Officially licensed by CB's Holland. This is like a Euro joint. XL. Nothing on the back. Rare white rap tee. This one's 300, okay? Okay, that's all I got for the tees right now. Okay, I'm going to do some questions here. Thoughts on the guy who made the Lithuania tie-dye shirts, re-releasing them? No, the original artist is re-releasing them on his site. He advertised on IG. I haven't seen that, man. My thoughts on that is, it's the original artist, so fuck, power to him. I guess, is he allowed to re-release them? Because Lithuania owns the rights probably to that. Who knows? But I have to have a look at them. Are they tie-dye? I don't even know. Anyway, it's a cool shirt. A lot of people copied it. And I seen them going for good money still. Dope shirt. How do you recommend washing vintage tees? Dude, I don't even wash much vintage tees, to be honest. I only wash my own tees. So, go check out 1980 something Co's video on washing tees. He put out a whole video on it, or listen to the podcast with Jace. Jace dropped some tips on washing vintage tees in that podcast. But as far as other than that, I don't even wash much tees unless they're real bad. Yeah, price in USD on any of those tees. But I don't know Smuggler's Notch. I never really went there much. Where do you live, Troy? Okay, I'm getting into some of the IG questions here. I got to dig them up. Okay. If you have any other questions, drop them in there. Drop them in there. I got to dig up these questions. Here we go. Archive. Okay, going. Anyone else got favorite polo piece? Polo skate, polo bear, the polo skate bear. I really want the polo skate bear in my size. It's like, I feel like it always comes kids. Also, the polo skate stuff always comes kids. I don't really collect polo power pieces. I never really have. I get it. I just not my thing personally. What have I wore? That's what I had. That's polo. Yeah, I really just want the skate stuff. Snowboard bear. Or like there's that jacket. I don't even know what it's called. There's like a couple jackets that have like the watch on it and like some racing graphics, or like swing top jackets with the racing gear on it. I love that shit. I used to have the Monaco shirt. I like that shirt. Okay, questions. Let's go. Questions. Where are you at? Okay, here's the questions. Okay, this is from Mad. Yeah, Polo Sportsman's dope. Like, I like all that stuff because I do go fishing and I'm into the mountain life. But for me, it's just not really technical gear. It's just kind of like what those guys would wear in the city. It's like wearing that gear in the city to like portray that life, but it's not really that life. But I do appreciate that stuff for sure. Troy grew up in Burlington, Vermont, now Florida, selling vintage. That's a big change, man. Vermont to Florida. Do you miss Vermont? I sure do. What piece that you had do you regret getting rid of most? Oh shit. I was just thinking about this. What piece do I regret getting rid of most? Jesus. Oh, I had a Jeff Grosso. It's like Jeff Grosso Powell tee. I think it's Powell. And it said "Enjoy Grosso" with like the Coke logo. I used to rock that shirt. I got rid of it, sold that. I was stupid. I had a bunch of skate tees that I probably sold. What is your crown jewel shirt of all time? I really want I had a Speed Wheel shirt when I was a kid. I think it was like a green, lime green. Had like this logo, Speed Wheels, just like a big oval thing, and then like a girl like kind of popping out on the top of it, just Speed Wheels. I bought it off mail order catalog. Back in those days, there was no internet, so you just like literally send in money in an envelope or call this company and order with a credit card, I think. They were like ads in the magazines to order all this stuff, and you could order the catalogs. And I want some of those original shirts I had when I was a kid back. Favorite flat ground trick skating. I'm getting old, so like I still love frontside pop shoves. Like I still rock a frontside pop shove, kick flips for my jam, heel flips for my jam. I love a good three flip, a good caught three flip with just the front foot. Yeah. That's the shit. What area of the vintage are you amazed has grown up in price in the last year? Wrap tees still? Yeah, I mean, wrap tees is a pretty obvious one. I wasn't super surprised that has gone up so much. I'm more surprised with just like the non-branded all over prints or like the Marvel stuff. I'm shocked with. I'm still shocked that some band tees are going for nuts, like Sonic Youth, Dinosaur Jr., that kind of stuff's going for like nuts money. That stuff kind of blows my mind. What really freaking blows my mind is someone paying $1,000 for a Back to the Future t-shirt. That's insane. I didn't think anybody gave a shit about that. What is something that many people think has value but is actually not very rare, special? Like a lot of times people find old stuff and they'll hit me and they'll be like, oh, I found this old thing. And you're like, yeah, it's not that cool. Like just because it's old doesn't mean it's worth money. Sometimes if something's too rare, it's worth nothing because it has to be at least there has to be enough of them around for people to have seen it and like kind of get the resonance of it in culture or pop culture. If it's too rare and no one's seen it, they're like, they don't get it. And they're like, that's not worth anything. So yeah, there's a lot of things. And like, I get people sending me stuff all the time that's old because they're curious. And most of the time it's worth nothing. Heart-shaped box. I mean, I just don't like that tee. I think that's annoying just because Bieber wore it and that's worth money to me. I think that's kind of whatever. That's that low-hanging fruit. Which band has the best graphics? I like Primus shirts, man. Primus shirts are sick. They had some crazy graphics. There's some Offspring had some funny graphics, like cartoon graphics. Geez, like I do like Maiden graphics. I think Maiden graphics are sick. I think some vintage tees will go down and some other ones will come up. So I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's just going to fluctuate. I think, yeah, all over prints always come back in at a certain time and then go back out and come back in and go back out, just as they do in streetwear. So I think those are going to go down. I think wrap tees are going to probably go down eventually. What do you think the wave of vintage will be? Like old skate stuff or surf brands, etc. The next wave, I mean, it's just going to be getting into the early 2000s, man. It's going to be like all that cartoon stuff that you younger folk, I mean, I'm assuming people who are watching this are younger. I have no idea. But the younger generation, what they resonate with when they were kids, like stuff that I'm going to have a hard time. I mean, I'm not an idiot. I get it. But it's stuff that I didn't like, cartoons and stuff that I didn't watch when I was a kid because it wasn't around. So that like later, early 2000 stuff's going to pop. I don't think vintage tees aren't going to die that hard like baseball cards. But if you watch Gary Vee or listen to Gary Vee, he says baseball cards are popping. He says they're going to pop back. So watch out for baseball cards to make a comeback. Don't listen to that millennial. I'm seeing a lot of fakes. Yeah, well, I talk about that on my other video. Did you see my other video talking about the It's an Aussie fake that's going around. There's also Tupac fakes going around. They feel really plasticky if you touch them, but it's hard to tell if you're just looking at a picture. So be careful for fakes, people. If you see fakes, call people out. Report the accounts to eBay, and just don't buy from it. Sucks. Thoughts on rebranding vintage? I do, Frankie, we do reworks. If you guys don't know, Frankie Collective Vintage or frankiecollective.com, we sell reworks in women's 90s vintage. We recut and sew vintage all day long, and we rebrand it. We put our own tags on it because we're making something new. So it'll be like a Nike rework with our own tag on it. I'm down with that. I've often thought about, what if we had tagged every piece of vintage we ever sold? There would be millions of pieces of vintage out there with our tags on it. We didn't do it, so whatever, but would have been crazy. I'm not against it. It has to be done in a subtle way, like inside tags or something, like fully to rebrand stuff like Fear of God. I was not really down with the original Fear of God rock tees. I didn't like the look. I didn't really think that was that cool. Yo, Kevin F. Yo, 43, dude. I'm only 39. You got me by 4 years. Your Toronto Instagram has been posting heat lately. What happened? Yo, landlord's digging. Landlord's out there digging, man. We're getting good stuff. Think Tommy is going to re-release Lotus. I don't really know if they're going to re-release Lotus, but I know that like the Tommy Jean stuff and the retro Tommy stuff is huge still in Europe. Tommy's like not really going away. They're killing it right now in Europe. When I was in Amsterdam, I saw it everywhere. They had full Tommy Jean stores. It's a lot different than it is over here. If you guys didn't see, Tommy New York store and Tommy London store is doing a project with Procel. So he's putting like a capsule collection of vintage pieces in both those stores. He just dropped a video for it. Looks super sick. Check that out. Any advice on branding yourself and your company? I mean, I've talked about this a lot, but I think personal branding is important, depending on what your brand is. But even if you're trying to go bigger mainstream brand, I think personal branding is super important. There's ways to do it. Like I'm doing it right here, talking to you guys, letting you into my life. People love that shit, right? So personal branding is super huge. I'm going to do more content strictly on like branding and building your company. If you want to get involved, this is for Papa. If you want to learn more about this stuff, sign up to my email list that's in the description of this video, will be, and in other videos. And I'll send you an email and you can get involved in the program because we're going to be talking a lot about that and like way more in-depth stuff. Best places to thrift. Definitely not in the big cities anymore because it's blown the fuck out. You got to go to the small towns. You got to get out of places. You got to go like if you really are serious about this, make sacrifices and go travel. Go find places that are hitting. Go find places where it's a bunch of grandmas like dropping off their clothes because you're not gonna. It's you want to compete with everyone else. You can stay in LA or wherever else you are, but I would say go out, find somewhere where it's not hitting, and go carve your own path. I'm an old head by age, Brian. Yes. Do you see yourself selling all your life? Do I see myself? I want to retire, man. Are you kidding? Do I see myself selling all my life? No, I'm going to retire young. I'm 39. I'm going to get this shit popping for as long as I can, and then I'm going to retire. And I invest my money. I buy property. I do other things because here's a tip, okay, people? Here's a tip. You're never going to get rich from selling vintage clothes. You're never going to get rich from selling vintage clothes. You can make a lot of money selling vintage clothes, but the only way you're really ever going to get rich is by investing the money you make selling vintage clothes. So I'll be putting out more content on investing, but for now, you all should be signing up to get investment accounts. No matter what age you are, if you're 43, you better be on it already. But for you younger cats, get on it. Get investment accounts. Start to educate yourself on how to make your money make you money. It's not just the t-shirts that are going to make you money. When you make the money from the t-shirt, you make that money make you money so that you can kick back and do nothing while your money's making you money. Okay? Okay, Brian, about the group. Yeah, I just talked about this. If you didn't catch the first part of the video, I sent out an email. I don't know if you got that email, but I gave myself 3 months to get this. So basically, by the new year, I'm going to launch the group. I'm going to launch the program. Okay, by the new year. So like Jan 1st, first week of January after holidays, I'm going to launch the program, and I want you to be in it. So just stay tuned. If you're on the email list, you're good. Basic workwear over any vintage hype. Hell yeah, Zachary. You know what I like to say? Here's a slogan: function before fashion. I like pieces of clothing that serve a purpose, that actually do something for your life, that like were designed for a purpose, designed for, say, going to war, designed for hunkering down in a mine and digging out coal. Stuff that was designed for a purpose. Patagonia, I love it because it's designed for a purpose, to keep you dry, keep you warm in the mountains. You ever hit the gym? Big Sean workout plan? dude, dude, I started back at my CrossFit gym today, man. It's probably going to be everyone hating on the CrossFit. Okay, whatever. I enjoy it. You get to hang out with some bros at the CrossFit gym, and it's a damn good workout. So yeah, Sharnold. I don't even know how to pronounce that. Thanks for the answer, Frank. I'm Drew, by the way. There is no Frank, but whatever. Does the bootleg sometimes do it better? Hell yeah, the bootlegs do it better. Man, that Nike bootleg stuff that just dropped with Cactus Plant, sick. I love that stuff. They basically took the best of the best inspiration from the 90s bootleg stuff and made that collab. I love a good bootleg, especially when it's spelled all fucked up, like P. Soren for Ralph Lauren. We have a P. Soren piece. I submitted my info to you when I got the email. Okay, dope, dude. I've been reading all those emails. I'm putting it all together. It's happening. Stay tuned in the new year. Okay. I sent you photos of vintage Guess skate shirt and was wondering, when did Guess make a skate line? Dude, I don't really know about Guess skate line. I don't have any pieces from it. I have tons of like Tommy and Polo skate stuff. Guess, I don't really know. I don't remember you sending me that. If you send me that, I'll have a look at it again. But I don't remember doing that. Anyway, send it in and I'll check that out. I don't really know. I would probably assume later 90s for Guess. Why have champion replica NBA jerseys gone up? They used to be 20 to 30 each top. Are you talking about like my price on the site? I don't remember ever having them for 20 or 30 for each top. This is for Andrew Chan. I think we always had them for like 40 to 60, depending on team and player. But anyway, yeah, that's inflation, man. Inflation, times change. Hey, DM'd you a few of my hookup shirts the other day. What do you think about the recent changes in their market and where the vintage skate market will go? Well, if you're referring to those prices going up, like, yeah, they went up crazy. This is for I don't even know his name. Blunt Smack. Vintage hookups seems to have gone up. Like, I've been talking to people and they're getting like $150 to $200 a pop on those. I mean, anime stuff is killing it in general. So, I mean, it's skate and anime, so it's like a double whammy. It's just great gear. I think skate will continue to go up. Skate culture is Skate culture is a huge part of Americana now, because skateboarding started in America. It has such a badass history. It has a badass backstory to it with the Dogtown and everybody involved to make it what it is today. That it's like cowboy culture. Like, that just has a cool backstory to it. That's why that kind of stuff is never going to go out of fashion completely, because it has the story and the history of Americana. Like, skate stuff has the history of the skate culture behind it. So I think it's going to continue to go up and continue to be collectible forever. It's not like a fleeting trend. You know what I mean? It's not a friggin' Guess stripey or something. It's like, it has a tangible history to it. Thoughts on the huge wave of hype behind Champion? Seeing it Urban Outfitters still feels weird nowadays. Yeah, dude. Okay, I'm totally with you on this. The hype behind Champion, they had their 100-year anniversary. Tags and Threads, he's actually doing a history of Champion book right now, I've heard. So I'm super hyped to see that. Champion's a rad brand. They have a wicked history. They go back to like early turn of the century. So many cool pieces. They're pioneers in sportswear from the beginning. they went way too hard. When Champion hit back as a trend, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I guess, they just went too hard. They were like, we're going to capitalize on this. We're going to make money on the resurgence of our brand. And they went in. They went way too heavy. We had a sales meeting because we were going to buy some new stuff for Frankie to sell on the website. They had like 200 styles. They basically did every single style of sweat, tee, pant you could think of, and now it's everywhere and it's lost its stuff. And I knew they were gonna burn out their own candle too fast from what they did, I think, and it's like not sustainable. And they did it. It's done. Just got back here. You ever have a vintage score in Vermont? Nah, dude, because I was so young, I didn't really look. Like I remember going to Burlington a bunch and Rutland. I got a homie in Rutland. Well, I don't know. I never met him, but an IG homie in Rutland who says he's got a score for me. So I want to get out there. Apparently there's stuff. But no, I was super young. I wasn't even 20. I was in my teens back then, and I wasn't really into the business yet. I wasn't really picking that much yet. I knew about vintage because my dad was in vintage and I was into it a bit, but I wasn't really picking out there at all. So no scores in Vermont. Yeah, man, I got 140 today. Got 175 the other day for old sniper tags. Kind of sucks because when I want specific shirt, it costs a lot now. What you think about plain T-shirt single color? What? Rick, I don't get your question. What you think about plain T-shirt, single cluer? Don't know. How do you price an oddball item that could be worth a lot, but you don't know? That just comes from experience. Like everyone's going to price stuff different depending on how cool they think it is. Like me and Jesse, we work together all the time. We've been working together for 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is. It's at least like 12 years probably. And we'll price tees different depending on if I think something's cooler or he thinks something's cooler. So oddball things that you can't get a reference on or you can't look it up on eBay. Thank God not everything is on eBay for reference because otherwise that would suck and it would just make the game so stale. You just got to make a price up. Like, what do you think someone's going to pay for it? What's your market going to pay for it? Yeah, like make up a good price that's fair. You know, what's someone going to pay for it? The price of any garment is what someone is willing to pay for it. That's it. That's the price. The price is what someone's willing to pay for it. Champion went mall core. Yeah, hella mall core, dude. Hella mall core. Champion is all over. Ross and Marshall's now overpriced, overproduced, and now discounted. Yeah, I told you. They went ridiculous. They had 100 styles, and they were in every store. They went way too hardcore. But I will say that, like, the vintage stuff still sells, so I'm glad about that. It didn't kill the vintage market because it's such a different vibe. They didn't, like, make a lot of, like, replicas. They just made, like, all this crazy trying to be streetwear stuff. I currently have a small retail space, and I'm thinking about breaking into my state NC flea market, as nobody is doing vintage there. What's the best way to splash in? The state's flea market. What's the best way to splash in? It's a flea market. I don't know. Like, you're not going to be able to advertise to that clientele unless you want to, like, run a targeted Facebook ad. Just friggin' splash in. Get a good sign. Do it up. You know, make a good booth. Get all your IG homies to come to the flea. Have a barbecue. Get the burger scent wafting around the flea market. think outside the box, man. Get a flag on a pole. I mean, flea market advertising, I don't know. You just gotta, like, if you're not gonna get them there with your social, get them there with free burgers or free hot dogs, veggie dogs or veggie burgers. I picked in Vermont a few times. The North Face finds are killer. I found 30 plus vintage Gore-Tex jackets, a lot of Patagonia, also vintage shirts though, nothing. That makes total sense, man. It's like a ski town. And you know what else? Manchester, Vermont. This is for Troy. Manchester, Vermont had all the outlets. So when I was a kid, like, we used to buy, this is in the 90s, we used to buy Tommy and Polo from the outlets in Vermont, in Manchester. And that was like the OG days when that stuff was coming out. Good advice, bro. I needed that. Caleb. Okay. You're welcome. Do you think opening a shop in a mall right now makes sense? I think it makes sense now more than ever. Yeah, if you're in a good mall. I wouldn't open in a shit mall. Some malls suck, but vintage is mainstream enough that you can open up in a mall and probably still do well. I would say That's more relevant now than ever. Hold on. Sorry, had to let my dog out. Okay, yeah, I would say opening in a mall is probably legit. Like straight vintage will do probably okay in a mall. I mean, I have a store in the Hudson Bay, which is a Frankie Collective store, which is a department store. It's not a mall, but it's a department store. So yes, I have a store in a department store. In a mall, I mean, it's going to do well. If you're going to open like a hype streetwear and vintage store, it's probably going to do really well. There's a chain here called Plus killing it. Obviously, Round 2 is killing it. They're not in the malls, but like they probably could be in the mall and kill it. So I would say, yeah, relevant. How do you feel about PacSun carrying vintage? Yeah, I seen that. I mean, I think it's like kind of whack. It's jumping on the bandwagon. But again, it's also like promoting sustainability, and it's also making our business bigger. When people like that do it, it'll get more kids into it that probably might not have been in it before. And then they're going to start hitting your IG and buying stuff. They're going to start coming to the more independent stores because they're going to graduate out of PacSun. They're like, PacSun has vintage, but it's kind of whack. Now I'm going to like see what else is better outside of that. And they're going to graduate into better, bigger things. So I think it's not a bad thing for the business. I think if the business gets bigger, it's better for everybody involved in the business. It's better for the planet because we're saving more clothes from landfills, especially if people start to rework and do different things like that. I used to sell vintage at the NC flea market all the time at the Rally one. I moved to New York though. Okay, Drew, who do you like better, Tony Hawk or Natus? I was never a big Natus fan, man. I have to say Tony Hawk on that one, but like that's just because I didn't really follow Natus's skating very much. I used to pick up RRL at the outlets in PA. Yeah, see, that's a score. You can go down to the outlets sometimes in Washington, like Puyallup, I think it's called, over the border from where I live, and we'll find double RL on the racks. Found some scores in there because if it gets returned, what happens is if the double RL gets returned to Polo, they won't ship it back to the double RL store. They'll just put it in the outlet. Did the team anticipate the fill a bag sale being such a huge event the first time they were held? Legendary in Vancouver. Are you in Vancouver just being Kyle? No. I mean, when we first did it, we never anticipated it being such huge events. It kind of grew into what it was, and like the word spread, and people were super hyped. And then, a couple times it went viral online, and yeah, that shit was epic, man. And we just did one. We just did one not long ago, and it was super epic again. Like we're gonna do probably 3 or 4 next summer because why not bring it back? It's super fun. I love it. It's wicked times. Hit the gram. Ha ha ha. Thoughts on reprints? Whack. Okay, well, reprint Gucci, whatever. It's all, there's like so many Gucci reprints out there. It's like I don't really care about that. But if you're trying to reprint like a Grail piece and then sell that for huge money, that's whack because you're deceiving people. Some things will continue to go up for vintage prices. Some things are peaking. This vintage being mainstream trend will stick around. How long do you project the vintage clothing to be as popular? I've got this question from the day I started selling vintage. Vintage clothing will always be popular. Sustainability is growing. The people's thought patterns around sustainability is growing like crazy. Vintage is going to continue to grow because of that reason. Now, the hype vintage is going to trend. It's going to go up. It's going to go down. Different things are going to go up. Different things are going to come down. You got to watch the trends. It's like different t-shirts are going to be more popular in 3 months from now. Okay, so different things will come up and go down. It's not going to go away. The vintage business is not going anywhere. What do you do on a day-to-day to influence the average person to appreciate used vintage clothing? What can you do on a day-to-day? I mean, talk about it more. Talk about how you guys should all be talking about how we're saving clothes from landfill. Like here's how vintage clothing is important to the planet. First of all, oftentimes what we're selling would end up in a landfill, okay? So we're rescuing garbage. Second of all, if somebody buys a vintage t-shirt or a vintage jacket, it means that one less new t-shirt or jacket has to be produced, which is a highly polluting process, no matter how you look at it. producing clothing takes tons of water, tons of chemicals, tons of manpower, energy, all this stuff. So it's double whammy. That's how you should educate people on it. Stop buying new clothing, start buying secondhand. Thanks, Kyle. Just being Kyle. Appreciate that. What's down now? What's down now? You see going up. What's down now? I see going up. I don't know. It's a tough one. Curious to learn more about the program. What your thoughts on paying dues in this industry and why some have scarcity mindset around vintage. Some people have scarcity mindset around life too. You know, I have an abundance mindset. I've tried to train myself to have an abundance mindset around life and around everything, around happiness, around money. Because do you want to live in a world or a life, have a life that's a glass half empty, or you want to live a life of a glass half full? I know what I'm going to do. The program, if you haven't got on the list, get on the list. The program is going to be sick. It's going to be super empowering and productive and uplifting and motivating for people who are involved. So get on the list. It's dropping in the new year. Do you think it's an investment comparable to silver gold to be buying Nirvana tees? LOL. Wonder how much a heart-shaped box tee will be in 2030. I mean, if you wait that long, sure, it'll probably be rare by then, and it'll probably be hard to find. And yeah, it might go up. I don't know. I'm still going to buy gold. Okay, the whole world wants gold. I do buy gold as an investment. They say put 10% of your money into gold. So buying T-shirts as an investment, I think like certain stuff might work like that. I know people who do that, but they've also took hits of when things went down. You know, they're hoarding like true vintage stuff. They're hoarding true vintage stuff, and then like certain dips in the market. You'd have to like wait out certain dips and then sell on the highs, right? Because it's all fluctuating. And I've seen highs in the past that haven't ever come back. So that's like playing stocks. You got to do your own research and you got to wait out. Favorite pieces to collect besides fishing tees. I don't only collect fishing tees. I just like that Ray Troll. The graphics are cool. I collect skate. I collect cartoons. I collect like 90s like graffiti graphic style stuff. I collect patty. I collect all snowboard clothing, like any vintage 80s, 90s outerwear. I collect what do I say? Skate, snow, surf. Patty obviously is like number one. Any random, I collect design pieces. Like if I find a wicked piece that has cool details, pockets that we might use for Frankie design, I'm going to grab that. Do you ever lose excitement of picking? Once you've seen it all, does it lose its luster? Yes. I've talked about this before, but it's like you become tolerant to it, just like any drug. It's like after so long, it takes something extra special to get you hyped up. It takes something extra special to get you hyped on it. After you've seen so much stuff, yeah, it's super hard to keep your hype on it, but you just keep digging harder and eventually you'll find that next thing that you haven't seen before, and then you get super hype again. Also, like for me now, I enjoy this kind of stuff. I enjoy talking with you guys and sharing my experiences with you guys about my life in vintage so far, and that to me gets me hype now. So like it's different. I still love the business. I still love doing the Rose Bowl and seeing the different pieces and seeing the rare pieces. And I still get hype every month on pieces. So don't get me wrong. I still get mad hype. But it's like the same stuff doesn't get me hype anymore. And for all you guys too, the more you see, it's going to take more to get you hype. Just like a hit of that pipe, it takes a little more every time to get you high. Live shows. Awesome sauce. Yeah. Getting started. What's best way of sourcing? I don't know. I'll drop more content on this, but like, there's mad ways to source. Okay. I'm just going to run it down here. Basic, thrift, bins, check Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace. You know what's a fucking untouched source? Put out your own ads. Most people are always looking for ads of people selling, but you can place ads asking. Have you ever thought about that? Place an ad saying, I'm buying your old T-shirts. If you live in a town in the middle of nowhere and like Nobody even puts T-shirts out at garage sales because they think nobody wants them. So if you put an ad in the paper, classified, maybe people will be calling you and giving you tees and or denim or whatever. And you know what? Those ads are like $10 a week. Gold or Bitcoin? I have gold and Bitcoin. Bitcoin's a nightmare, but I still have some, so we'll see. I mean, gold, when the economy crashes, they say gold will go up. I don't know what'll happen when with Bitcoin when the economy crashes. We haven't lived that long to see, but I'm pretty new to investing. I'm not a super pro. I do have some basic tips, but I'll do other content on that later. What do you think about the early 2000s trends like Nike SB skyrocketing in price? Well, I'm down with it. Like I used to like Nike SB. I had the P rods. I had the P rods hanging on my wall. Yeah, I don't know what that. I think the sneaker game is just super hot right now. Like it's a crazy bubbling market too. I don't really know. I found its silver bar collecting to be super similar to the vintage scene, except that all silver bars look the same, and you don't get to enjoy the variety of it. That's for Abram Long. What's your favorite thing to flip that's not vintage? Shit. Dude, I don't even know. I've like started to get more versed in like what's cool outside of vintage, and like me and my wife always go antiquing. I bought Eames furniture. I like Eames stuff. My wife collects phones, antique phones. We haven't really flipped much of them. A favorite thing to flip. I've been so mainline into clothing, man. Like I don't even, if I see cool stuff, I'll flip it. I buy furniture. I have people who buy furniture from me sometimes. But I'm not that knowledgeable outside of it. Unopened packs of 80s diapers, they go for bank. Haven't found any yet, but maybe one day. Thanks. I'm signed up. Hear you on mindset have been surprising by some other vintage sellers. Scarcity mindset, which is strange as the pie is big enough for all. Yeah, totally. Thoughts on the accessibility of vintage in Japan? Blew my mind how much vintage you can find in the major cities. Yeah, they've been buying it up for years. They're probably the biggest consumers of American vintage clothing. They come over every month. They bring a ton of it back. They really appreciate Americana more than we do. They probably know more about American clothing than most Americans do. It's wild. It's super wild. I'm super down with it. I love the Japanese. I went to Tokyo once. I want to go more. I want to go snowboarding in Japan, but I went there and I had a wicked time. I have such great Japanese clients who buy from us all the time. You can also go there and score because a lot of times they come here and like there's some people that just come here and do trips around America thrifting. So they'll get it for nothing. And you can go over there and buy polo pieces and like interesting pieces in Japan for good prices. I sell vintage Stussy tees if I want. I have a collection of Stussy. I have a lot. I have some really wicked pieces, but I don't really sell them much. Drew, do you have any cool breakdancing crew jackets? No, I don't have breakdancing crew jackets. I have like some break in the movie tees. I have like some random breakdance stuff, but like, nah, I wish that'd be sick. I don't think I've ever found any, man. Like real like Rocksteady crew jacket or something like that from New York. No, I haven't found that, but I would love to. Do you ever watch your old videos on the polo hauls and rap tee hauls and think that was the golden year? Yeah. I mean, you know what? I watch those videos and I wish I kept making more videos back then. That's what I think. Cause I'm like, we had so many other hauls that we never made videos on. We were doing such cool stuff back then. We were digging so deep. We were going crazy. And I never made videos on so many things. So I do kind of regret that. Any podcast coming soon? Yes, I'm recording podcasts this week. Tomorrow, the next day, I'm going to be dropping a couple this week. Best tips for cleaning old tees. Go watch 1980 something Co's video on it. He did a whole video. Why do the black vintage t-shirts always have holes? Any old vintage t-shirts can have holes, not just black, but black is the only color that dry rots. It's because of the chemicals they use in the black fabric. Black is the only color that will ever dry rot. I was at this fabric supplier that I go buy dead stock old fabric from. She had a whole bolt of black fabric that was dry rotted, like a freaking roll of fabric. And I pulled a piece, a whole roll dry rotted. Why do 80s diapers go for money? I don't know, man. It's like a weird perversion thing. I have no idea. Snowboard rail tricks you can still do. Troy, I actually sucked at rails. If you go back on this channel, I think there's a snowboard video of me. I did a couple rail tricks in that video. But I was never that good at rails. I was more into big air and pipe and riding backcountry jumps. I kind of sucked at rails, man. I kind of regret not learning to be better at rails back then. Did you ever mess with Rakuten? I don't even know what that question is. Rakuten. Thoughts on Chump brand skateboarding, snowboarding stuff? Is Chump an actual brand, or do you mean like whack brands? Why do you think cultures like Japan and Thailand are so interested in vintage USA culture? Hold on, I gotta let my dog in. They're interested in it because Americana is cool. Americana has like such a rich history. It's the newest culture on the planet. Like it's only 400 years old at the oldest. It has cowboy culture. It has biker culture. It has skateboard culture. All these things came from America. It just has a cool story. Not to say that all the other countries don't have cool backstories and culture. They all do. They have rich cultures, but America and Americana just has its own thing. And it's interesting. And yeah, it is weird that they're so into it. I don't really know. And also in Japan's really into subcultures. So like if they're not all into vintage and they're not all into Americana, but like the people that are into it are really into it. And the people that are into like anime or like Harajuku style are like really into it. And the people that are into something else, like pens, like the people that love pens, they spend thousands of dollars on pens in Japan. Anything that they're into, they're just into it like 10 times more than anybody over here is into something. I have a Malamute dog. I mean, I don't know about Prince making a comeback. I mean, they did a good collab with Sean. I don't think it's going to become like the next big streetwear brand or anything. I think it's just a cool thing. Just like Vespa did a collab with Sean, and that's rad. I'm super behind Sean. Sean's a great guy. Do you have a Blind Birdhouse Flip World Industries tees collection? Love to see a vid of your other skate shirts. I'm going to do more vids of skate shirts. Yes, I have all those brands. Not specific collections of each, but I have a bunch. Sage, come here. Here, girl. Hey, say hi. Look. Up, face up. Come on, get in here. This is my dog. This is Sage. Okay. You go lie down. Actually, you stay here. Now, now you're doing podcasting. We are all loving it. What do you have planned for it in 2020? I don't know. We're going to do fun things in the podcast. I don't know. I don't really plan that much. I just kind of do stuff. I already did the shirts for sale at the beginning of this video. You're going to have to rewatch it, okay? But I have questions on here. Chomp, I don't know the brand Chomp. I'm going to do these Instagram questions. This movie's like so long already. Okay, I got to go find them again because it timed out. I'm doing these Instagram questions. Hope you guys are enjoying this Q&A here. If you want to know anything else, let me know there and I'll answer. But I need to get these ones. Okay, this is from Mad Critical. Will there always be a vintage game? Are we just going to continue to adapt? Yes, I spoke about that question already. Trends will come up and go down. It's never going to go away. What's in will just change. New fashion always copies vintage. Basically, if they're on an 18-year cycle, new fashion will be copying what happened 18 years ago. So basically right now we're in like 2001. That's what's popping for like new fashion. And because of that, vintage will always be relevant. It's just what is relevant will change within vintage. This is from Continuity. Would you still open a physical store if you were starting today? Okay, opening a store is great. It's guaranteed money every day unless you really suck and you make no money in your store. But it's pretty much guaranteed money every day, some money, but there's so many expenses and so many headaches involved in running a store. You have to be able to deal with people. You have to have employees. You have to pay rent. You have to pay your bills. And then the other thing about opening a physical store is you can't really take vacations from picking. Unless you have a wicked source of vintage, you got to keep that store full. So if you think you're just going to take 6 months off and go live in Hawaii and do nothing, you can't really do that because you're going to not have any stock for your store and you're going to be screwed. So I hope my wife's laughing at me. Would I open a store today if I would. I'm opening new stores, so yeah, I would. But I'm pretty set up and established in my business life here. But I would say you gotta look at all the different things that go into opening a store and be ready for it. You got to be able to supply it. I think a lot of vintage dealers go into opening a store and they don't understand that they have to supply a store now. It's not like supplying your Instagram, because one day you might not find anything. You don't have to post on Instagram, whatever. It doesn't matter. There's no expenses. But the expenses don't stop in a store. So like you got to have stock to sell that day. This is from Total Tourists. Can resellers really be friends? Laughing emoji face. I've talked about this on the podcast too. Mad people now like go picking together and it's cool and they're chill. Like if you have a reseller friend that you go picking with, it maybe one person's into sports gear, one person's into like hype gear, one person's into like old dresses. It's like, yeah, you guys can go pick together because you're not really buying the same stuff. But look, I'm friends with all you guys, and you're resellers, and I'm a reseller, so there you go. Keela Customs. What got you into vintage clothing? I'm going to do like a podcast with Jesse and we'll talk about how we got into the business. But basically, our father was in the business. He was selling used clothing my whole life. I'm doing the podcast series about my dad right now, so you can go listen to those. There's 3 or 4 episodes of my dad telling about his history in vintage clothing. We'll eventually get up to the point where we're talking about like when we were born and all that stuff. Yeah, smash the like button, everybody. Brian, the Oakbrook picker. Smash the like button right now. If you're watching this, there's only 13 likes and there's 43 people watching it. Smash the like button. Anyway, so I was always around vintage when I was a kid, and I would work for my dad, and I helped him in the warehouse, and I learned about vintage that way. Then I was basically, I went off and snowboarded for years. I was like professional snowboarder, getting paid. I still had to work. I didn't really make a lot of money doing snowboarding, but I was a snowboard bum for a lot of years, and then I went back to picking when I was like in my early 20s. So that's the short story, but I'll do more content on how I got in the vintage biz. Okay, this person says, how do you get in the rag business? I'm not really going to talk about that. There's some things, I give you guys so much knowledge here. If you want to get into my course and learn more about that, I'll talk a little bit more about it in my course. But there is some things I'm just not going to talk about on here. But I will talk about business in general, different principles here. If you want to be successful in any business, you got to have power. I think you got to have buying power. If you want to control suppliers and you want to have everybody sell to you, you got to have buying power. You got to be able to walk in and throw down cash, and you can't be cheap. You can't, if you're going to be the cheapest guy coming in and wanting everything for the cheapest price, they're just going to sell it to the guy who'll pay more. So, one tip is like the first time you deal with somebody, if you're going to an appointment and you're going to buy from somebody, think long-term. Don't come into that appointment and try to grind for prices. What you should do is you should come in, you should drop a stack of cash. You should show that person that you're ready to play the game and you're ready to throw down money, because then that person's going to call you next time and you're going to get invited back. Okay? That's the good tip. That's what I'll give you today. Best find at thrift stores at the bins. I don't ever hit the bins. I found a lot of good stuff at picking, but no, I'll get into that in a second. I like the one with the guy that ran a bookstore, heads up. Oh, my dad's podcast. Yeah, that's my dad. Who picks more, you or Jesse? Jesse picks way more. I'm like in the selling side right now. I pick here and there when I get calls for digs and stuff, and I go to the yard once in a while. But Jesse picks like every day. Thanks, 5-day flipper. Yeah, me and my dad, he's coming tomorrow, so I'm doing an episode with my dad tomorrow. I'm going to be doing in a couple other episodes. Stay tuned. Great content, so many gems. Do some more true vintage history vids, please. I will do those soon. You have to pray for the rag gods and check your mailbox every day, and one day there will be a random address in there for you. How do you go about picking vintage pieces? That's too random of a question. Thought of buying and selling shirts with no tag. Yeah, people are way too into the tags. Hell yeah, buy vintage shirts with no tags. Who cares about the tag? When you're wearing a shirt, like when you're out with your homies rocking a shirt, do they come up to you and go like, "Let me see the tag. Let me see the tag, bro. Oh, is that an Oneida? Is that like a liquid blue?" Who cares about the tag? Honestly. So yeah, that's my thoughts on tags. People that buy shirts for the tags, I mean, the tag helps. To me, the tag helps you date it, right? The tag helps you date it and gives you relevance and like authenticity to like if it's real or if it's licensed or any of that stuff. But like buying a T-shirt just for the tag, I don't know. How to find these crazy dead stock hauls and other vintage heat? Okay, dead stock hauls. How do you find these dead stock hauls? I mean, the only way to find dead stock hauls is to hit the friggin' pavement and go driving around your city. Go driving around your city, look in the hoods, look in weird places, go find stuff. You know, it's not just going to, the reason they're dead stock scores is because they're not online. They're people that like are hoarders that kept stuff for way too long. It's not just going to jump out at you. It's not going to like, they're not going to email you and say, "Hey, I have all this great stuff." Because to them, they don't think it's great. They don't, so half of these people are like, mentally challenged and they're literally hoarding this stuff. They haven't been able to separate themselves from the stuff. You got to get out there and find it. You got to knock on doors. You got to ask people. You got to get leads. You got to go digging. That's why I call it digging. Like literally spend time. That happened to me. LOL. I got an ad for one of those for a dead stock dig. Huh. Have I sold anything off my back before? This is a good question. Okay. Yes, I have sold something off my back before. I was at the Rose Bowl and I had this wicked hunting vest. They're called half moon hunting vests. They have these pockets like this. You know, they're buttons up and then have these pockets that go like that. They're super rad. Look it up, half moon hunting vest. And I'm at the Rose Bowl and the homeboy's like Japanese homie that I know for a long time. He's asking me, "Can I buy the vest?" And I'm like, "Nah, this is my personal." And then he starts throwing out numbers. He was like $300. I'm like, "Nah, I like this vest. It's rad. Like I wear it. I wear this all the time. I'm wearing it right now." And then he's like, "Okay, 400." I'm like, no. He's like 450. And he's like 500. I'm like, fuck. $500. I sold the vest off my back for $500 at the Rose Bowl. Those vests were up at that point. I don't think they're up that high anymore. And then I was like, I'll just find the new one. And I did find the new one. Let me show you. I found the new one. Okay. This is what the vest looks like. Half moon vest. It has these pockets. Okay. So yeah, I sold a similar vest to this off my back for 400 at the bowl or 500 at the bowl. I need 2 to 3 times for sale. I don't know what that means. Yo, what up? What up, Easy Money? Margella Manson, vintage Lee denim. Yeah, vintage Lee denim's rad. What about it? So broad question, but how do I make my first sale? I feel I got stuff that's too new when I started out this summer buying opinion. How to make your first sale? Price things cheap. People will snap. I almost offered to buy a guy's Butthole Surfers t-shirt off his back at a melt. Dude, you totally should have. Hell yeah, you should have. I offer to buy people stuff. I offer people to buy it off their backs all the time. What's the worst they're going to say? No. Who cares? I mean, I've come to realize in my later life here that I don't care what people think. I invite the hate. If anybody wants to hate on me, bring it on. Because you know what? I don't really care. I wouldn't be doing stuff like this if I did care. I don't care to ask people if I can buy vintage off their back. Caring about what people think will hold you back in life. Vintage is supposed to be like, I mean, if you look at the cycle, I look at the cycle of fashion as 18 to 20 years. So that's what I say, 18 to 20 years to call it vintage. But I don't even care. Like, I don't care what's called vintage or not. I just think if it's cool, resell it. We sell a lot of like modern clothes that are cool. We sell good outerwear that's modern because it's rad. So, I mean, I don't really care about that term. And I think that's an old head thing to really be stuck on that term. What's your favorite piece for its functionality? The one that is super useful and makes life and work easier and better. John Molf. I mean, some of the Patagonia stuff, like the foul weather jacket. It's like this like super tape seam raincoat people wear sailing like in monsoons. Sick. It's like foul weather Patagonia jacket. It's epic. Keeps you warm, keeps you dry. Also, what else is good and functional? Geez, let me think about that. Tips for someone going to their very first Rose Bowl. To buy, if you're going to buy at the Rose Bowl, it's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be like, there's going to be too much overload of like stimulus for your brain if you've never been. There's so much vintage there. I made so many mistakes buying my first Rose Bowl because there was just too much stuff there. You got to like do a lap, take it in, kind of see what's going on, dig the piles, dig the cheap piles. I would stick to like, it's overwhelming. I'd say like just go easy on your first one and then really go deep on your second one. I'm getting into vintage Lee. Yeah, Lee's rad. I mean, Lee's a great brand. It's worth money. Some of the Lee is worth just as much as Levi's in some certain cases. So you just got to know what stuff, but it's hard to find. Like I think even older Lee is even more rare than Levi's. Tips for someone. Okay, do you only buy wholesale or do you go to the bins? I pick wherever I can pick. We don't have a bins here in Canada. We have different sources. I go to the thrifts myself. I'll do a pick it in a thrift video one time just for fun. Yeah, I mean, I pick from dealers. I get calls all the time. So now I have a store. I'm on Google. People call me and they have stuff they want to sell. So I do that. Do all kinds of stuff. And we have pickers that pick full time for us. First vintage sale event coming up. How do you go about pricing in your booth in terms of price points? That again just comes from experience. Like I can rip through like a stack of 500 T-shirts and price it out because I know I've been doing this for so long. Yeah, sure. Some of them are going to be way cheaper than what's going on eBay, and some will be more than what's going on eBay because I don't, like I said 100 times, I don't go by what's going on eBay. I price it by how cool it is, how much I know my market will pay for it. But you know what? At the Rose Bowl, at the flea market, I don't even price. You want to know my biggest tip? This is for BDM's Productions, or whatever. Don't even price your clothing. If you're going to like a flea market event or like a sale thing, don't even price your stuff. You know what's the best way to make sales? Don't price it. Have everyone come ask you for a price, and it creates a conversation between you and them, and you can judge what you think they're going to pay. If you're ready to go and have a sale where you want to sell stuff, then don't price it. They're going to come to you and ask for a price. Then you can open up a conversation and dialogue. That's the biggest thing. Get talking to the people and you'll make sales. Don't price it. Just know in your head what you're going to price it when they ask. A bunch of Bath beach towels from the 90s. Any value to those? Probably not, unless they're like Polo or something. or Budweiser. You ever take tags off a dead stock item just to wash it? If you find a dead stock piece that's dirty, yeah, for sure. Like dead stock has dead stock marks on it. If it's been folded, it'll have like fold marks on it and stuff. You got to wash it. What about selling at the Rose Bowl first time? Sorry, so many questions. Tips selling at the Rose Bowl first time. Well, that tip about don't price your gear, just be ready to talk prices with people is a good tip. We don't price anything at the Rose Bowl anymore. We used to, but it's first of all a lot of work. Second of all, it's better to talk to the people. Get there early, get set up early. Hang up your best pieces on a tent. We call it the chum. Throw chum in the water to attract the sharks. Try to get a good booth space. Bring good stuff. I don't remember those skateboarding pants. How can I thrift effectively when all I have around is Goodwill, regular no bins near me? Just go a lot. Just go all the time. Go as much as you can. Go early. Go find out when they put out the new stock days. Get in the back. Volunteer at the thrift store. Volunteer at the thrift store. Get in the back room. Just call the Rose Bowl, get a booth. Come on. It's an easy one, Rick. It's called RG Canning Events. You just like go on their website, sign up. Okay, I'm going back to these questions. If you could collab with any company besides Patagonia, who would it be? Well, you hit that on the head. It would be Patagonia, but who would it be? I can't really talk about this stuff because I have some cool plans, but who would I collab with if I could collab with anyone? I want to collab with some environmental companies, not even clothing companies. Like I want to collab with Greenpeace. I think that'd be cool. I want to collab with like Surfrider Foundation and make some pieces. I think that would be cool. Um, but we got Frankie Collective has a bunch of collabs in talks right now, so not going to really go there. But yeah, I think with some environmental companies would be cool. Busiest fair meet trade show you ever attended? Complex Con by far was the busiest, craziest fair trade show thing I've ever been to. It's just hordes of hype beasts just going nuts for everything. They're going crazy. Frankie killed it. We didn't go this year. We opted out. We had some other stuff to take care of, so we didn't go. Last year was crazy. The booth was rammed all day, just like nonstop selling gear. I mean, we're selling different stuff. We're selling like all the reworks and hype gear and Supreme and all this stuff. But by far, that's the biggest flip and biggest loss. I'm going to do a whole video on my biggest flip ever because it's super special and it's like deserves its own video. So I'm not even going to tell you my biggest flip on here. My biggest loss, I don't even know. I mean, we've all had losses. We all get overhyped on a stupid piece. Probably like some true vintage stuff I bought thinking it's going to be a big deal, and it's not. Like a lot of true vintage stuff is very fickle. Like Hawaiian shirt market is super fickle. Like the size, the print, the color, the tag, all these things like are determinants in if it's worth money or not. And you think you might have $1,000 Hawaiian shirt, it's worth $100. Or same with denim. Like it's super dependent on size and wash and all this stuff. Sweet. Retro game, bro. Just finished the questionnaire from the masterclass. Yeah. Appreciate you, Retro Game Bros. Thank you very much. The bins is like a Goodwill. The bins is a Goodwill outlet center. That's what the bins are. Someone asked. Okay, moving on. More questions here. If you could choose one trend to come and go, what would they be? One trend to come. I mean, I think like 90s rave and like wild style should come in more heavy. That'd be super cool. Like big wild pants and like emo rave core. Emo rave core should come back in. What trend do I want to go? Heart-shaped box tees, okay? That's what I want to go. Heart-shaped box tees. So many questions about how you started Frankie. Can you do a podcast on it? Okay, yes. This is from Shop Velvet Underground. They're a store up in Whistler, sick vintage store in Whistler. Shop Velvet Underground. If you're ever in Whistler, BC, go check them out in Function Junction. I'm going to do a whole podcast on this with Sarah. But Frankie was my brainchild 5 years ago. I started to see Nasty Gal blowing up. I'll tell you the truth, okay? I saw that Nasty Gal was doing $500 million a year. I saw a statistic on like Forbes or something. Nasty Gal was doing $500 million a year. Or maybe it was even more than that. It was something astronomical. And I was like, we're totally missing the mark here by not going after the women's market in vintage. We were already reworking clothes at that time. And I was like, we need to get involved in the women's market here because it's crazy. Then we found Sarah through a friend, and it was just a fluke, and she was like a perfect fit for us. And then we developed it with Sarah from the get-go, coming up to 6 years. So a lot of things had to fall into place. It was a crazy ride. I'll get into more about how we started Frankie in another video. But the brainchild spawned from hearing Nasty Gal did $500 million. Number one grail you've never had and desperately need for your personal LOL by Ultra Mega Vintage. My cat wants to snuggle. My cat wants to snuggle. Yeah, my cat does. This is Butch. We had two cats, Butch Caskety and the Sundance Kitty. The Sundance Kitty got run over by a car, so now we just have Butch. I really want to polo skate bear that fits me is a grail that I really want. There's lots of Patagonia that I want. I want like the Rhythm hoodie in a couple other colors in XL. I want a deep pile dark blue. I think there's like a reverse pile orange fleece. There's some other colorways of things that I don't have that I want from Patty. Retro game bro. Yeah, trip pants have come back into style, but not really the baggy ones. Just like the chainy, tighter ones came back. What's the best advice for this? Running a small website for your stuff to sell or make accounts on eBay. I mean, it's super hard to sell. eBay will sell the hype stuff all the time, but you can't sell the mid-grade on eBay. And you can't really develop your own brand on eBay. So I would say make a site, but it takes a lot of work. Malik Powell. Powell, Google, Goodwill, outlet stores. Oh. Okay, anyway. Fave piece you ever picked personally. Fave piece I ever picked. Well, okay. Jesse asked me this question too. He was like, he wanted me to talk about my favorite picks really in the wild or the rag yard. Okay, so I think my first or second or first week picking ever, I picked I think it's called a B11. Oh, I can't believe I'm forgetting this. Hold on. I got to look this up. B11 bomber jacket. No. Oh, I can't even remember the code. It's like a B. Okay, I got to get back to you on that one. So forget about that one. Anyway, I picked like a World War II super, super rare bomber jacket. It's like a super long shearling bomber jacket with like the U.S. Air Force insignia on the side. Oh, I can't remember. It's a B something. Anyway, never found one again. Like I picked it my first week picking and it like ruined me for picking because I'm like, this is the sickest jacket and now I can't find it again. Anyway, that was super sick picking the wild. Also picking the wild, I picked a Alaska souvenir jacket. Is really memorable for me. I remember picking it out the side of a bale. I just saw like the sleeve and it's like that velvet souvenir jacket. It has the Alaska with the dog sleds down the sleeves. Sick jacket. If you don't know what a Japan souvenir jacket is, look it up. Okay, this one comes from Andrew Kinney. How many Jesus tees does Landlord have? Good friggin' question. Landlord loves his Jesus tees. Probably has one for every day of the month. And then some. He probably has one for every Sunday of the year. How about that? So I'm going to say 52. This isn't a question, but you should come to Houston, Texas. I've been to Houston, Texas a bunch. Love the barbecue. Love the city. It's a great town. I'll probably be there sooner than later. This is from the Revolver. Online or retail, rizzle.ry. I kind of went over that. Like, there's a lot of things involved in retail. Online is easy, but yet it's not built in. You got to drive your own traffic. There's so many different variables in this. I'll do more video content on that specific question because it's like very deep. What advice would you give to a young person trying to figure out what to do as a career? Follow Gary Vee. He loves to hype the young people up and tell them what to do. But you got to experiment. You got to do things. You got to take risks. I would say take risks when you're young. Do whatever makes you happy and really go deep in it. You're going to be more successful in doing something that makes you happy. This question is from a New Vintage Group. Do what makes you happy and try to make a career out of it. Vintage Files. How do you stay motivated over so many years? Well, this kind of stuff keeps me motivated now. I like helping people. I like The community, the vintage community, keeps me stoked. I like doing new things. I'm super ADD, I think, at heart, and I think how I've stayed motivated through all these years is to like do different things within vintage. Like I don't just resell clothes we find. Like I have stores, and then we're doing like pop-up events, and then we're doing like reworks. So now we get to be creative and design different reworks. And then it's like, let's create a new concept, Frankie. Let's do a alley sale, fill a bag. Let's go sell at the bowl. Let's do let's design some environmental t-shirts. Like always something new within the business that's keeping me motivated, because I do get ADD and I think like I want to do something else next, and I don't want to like stop the business. Like our father, what he would do is he would like start a business, sell it, start a new business, sell it, start a new business, sell it. I don't want to do that. I want to keep what I have, but just do different projects within the business to keep me motivated and inspired to going forward. What current clothing brand pieces do you think will be sought after 20 years from now? This is a wicked question, and this is like the foreseeing the future type question and what's going to be valuable. And I think streetwear, like pleasure, I think pleasures, but the pleasures is the first thing that pops to my mind when I think what's going to be valuable in 20 years. Off-white. Off-white super quality. Like I think that stuff will be valuable. Designer stuff. That's what comes to mind. Off-white and pleasures, but I don't. It's super hard to say. Most you ever spent on a shirt for personal? For personal, probably like $350 maybe. I spent on a shirt for personal. How much have I spent on a shirt from personal comes from out of this world vintage? I would say like I'm about $350 range, but I'm not trying to go spend $350 on shirts all the time. So that's rare. What is your dream grail find? From Pink Skull Vintage. Shout out Pink Skull Vintage. She's sending me a free shirt. I'm super grateful. I'm so glad that you like the content, and thank you for that. But I already said that. So it's my polo bear in my size, a bunch of Patagonia pieces. You know, there's lots of skate stuff that I want. I want that Speed Wheels tee. I want I want that Back to the Future tee, but I don't want to pay $1,000 for it. I don't know. Stuff just like speaks to me sometimes. I don't even know my grails to like go search them. It's just like when I see it, I'm down. I love when people DM me stuff like skate stuff or the stuff that they know I'm into. I'm just super down with that. I'd rather find it organically than dork out on eBay and like look for stuff. So I don't really like sit there and think about my grails. I like to just be surprised when something comes my way. Gerald Batista. Shout outs from the Philippines. Shout out to the Philippines. Ooh, this is a good tip. FWD. I think vintage skateboarding gear is about to pop next year when it enters the Olympics. What do you think? I mean, that's going to drive it mainstream. I'm kind of stoked on the Olympics taking it. I was super stoked back in '98 when snowboarding hit the Olympics. I mean, there was a lot of controversy. Can you guys see me? And my computer's getting low on battery. I got to end this video. This is like a long video that I didn't. So yeah, I think the Olympics is going to be like bring snowboarding into the mainstream. There's probably so many haters in skateboarding around it. I would love to go because the Olympics is in Japan. I would love to go to the Olympics and watch the skate event. I actually have a sort of a connection to get a ticket. Maybe. Probably won't happen, but I would love to go watch the skateboarding in the Olympics in Japan. Hopefully, Andy Anderson will kill it for Canada. And I don't know who else is on the team, but there's probably a bunch of people. So yeah, and when breakdance, I didn't even know breakdancing was entering the Olympics. That's crazy. So that's super nuts. That's like very interesting that a counterculture dance like that would get in the Olympics, but that's rad. Go with Suitcase of Vintage and sell it over there. Tanner. Yeah, hell yeah, Tanner. I'm going to go with the Suitcase of Vintage and sell it over there. Always. Really enjoyed the Content Plus podcast. Cheers for sharing. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. This video's over. I talked to you about the wholesaling. If you want to email us, if you want to buy wholesale, we wholesale lots of different types of vintage. Please follow me on Instagram. Please like this video. There's 60 people watching this right now live, and nobody's liking the video. There's only 24 likes. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. If you want me to do more lives, comment below. And I'm going to end it here. Want to see a video showing off your all over print tees? Just going to have to wait for that, aren't you now?